Look, let's go. Let's go right into it. 2023 is here. The schedule is out. I'm gonna bring it up right now. Let's see. The 2023 schedule starting. Woo!
With
Carolina first at home. You talked about they have Bryce Young. They have a new coach.
Well, is he starting though? I thought he wasn't starting.
See, that's the other thing. Because if he's not starting, my pick changes. I don't know if it changes because I still want to see him play in the NFL. Because I didn't realize how small he was until those pictures surfaced.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? He's like another Kyler Murray.
Yeah, he's small, and I'm wondering how that plays in. But what do you think? Even if he starts, let's say he starts week 1 because new coach, they need to get some excitement back in Carolina, and it's a divisional opponent. Do you think you guys could pull that victory out?
I do. I think it's a win for Atlanta. To be honest with you, the weird thing about Atlanta, especially at the beginning of the season in the last 3 years, is they have a tendency to throw. Well, not necessarily throw, but have close matches in the first couple of weeks and just lose it out, right? Mm-hmm. But I think right now, like Desmond Ridder is definitely going to have something to prove. He's going to show up. He's going to want to ball out and say, hey, you know what? I deserve this starting job, right? Carolina, I still think is trying to figure out their identity. You know, them losing DJ Moore is huge. Losing CMC as well. Like they're very much in, you know, where's the talent right now? Like, where are we going to focus more on the passing game? Are we going to focus more on the running game? You know, are we going to try and give more handoffs to, you know, oh my God, I can't remember his name now. The Canadian.
Who? Chuba
Hubbard. Yeah. Or, you know, is Adam Thielen going to make a difference right now in Carolina, right? I don't know. It's tough. I still think Atlanta runs away with the W on this one, though. I do.
I can dig it. Yeah, I think Carolina's going to come in towards the end of the season and start to click and everything. I think they're still going to be too fresh and too new and green. I don't think they get the dub. I think you guys got it. And then you stay home in week 2 and play Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers led by Jordan Love. I think it's a W.
Straight through. W. Absolutely. You know, Jordan Love. He has been showing the ball. This will be his first full season, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. But even then, you know, them losing Devontae Adams as well, right? All they really have on that line is what? Aaron Jones and Christian, right? What's his name? Oh my gosh, I can't remember the wide receiver.
Who? Watson.
Yeah, Christian Watson. Not much, to be quite honest with you. I wouldn't bank on it. I think Atlanta runs away with the W on that one. What do you think?
I'm sorry. I agree with you. I completely agree. I think it might be a little bit closer because I'm not out on Green Bay, but I do think that Jordan Love is going to have growing pains as well. And I think Atlanta's going to start off 2-0. 2-0. And then my birthday weekend, you go to Detroit. And I'm going to tell you something. I went on my birthday weekend to Detroit last year, and it was 22-0 at the half. So, what are you thinking, man?
Well, we've done well with Detroit, but the thing is Detroit has gotten better, right?
Yeah.
So I think in this particular scenario, I think this will be a closer game than people will realize, but I do think Atlanta loses against Detroit.
Yeah, that's what I got. So 2-1, and then they come home and play another dominant team. Jacksonville.
No, this is in London. This is in London.
Ooh,
Okay, Jacksonville.
Oh, that might change some things up, man. Now it's going to be that offense. Your old receiver, Calvin Ridley, Trevor Lawrence, all those guys against that new defense that y'all been building up, man. And this is when it shows out, man. You're 2-1, and you go to London. What do you think?
That's a tough one, honestly. Jacksonville is doing all the right things right now. You know, them seeing Calvin Ridley, I was really upset to lose. Like, I understand why it happened, but I loved him in Atlanta. He was actually I think I saw one of his last games, I believe, when I went to Atlanta. So it's crazy. I hope good things for him. I think, you know, we got to talk about, you know, Trevor Lawrence now being in the league for as long as he has. And, you know, he's ran through his growing pains. He's wrestled through like a struggling, rebuilding Jacksonville, and they've done wonders for their defense. I think Atlanta loses the game. I think it's 2-2.
Yeah, I think, and I don't think as much that Jacksonville is better. I think you're both upstart, but I think that the fact that it's at 9:30, the fact that it's in London, over the pond, if you will, I think that's gonna play a factor in it. And yeah, I agree. I think Jacksonville gets it done, but then you come home the week after to play a team that is in the same division that is trying to make moves in the right direction, but I don't think they're there yet. No. Houston, what do you think, man?
I think it's a W for Atlanta in this scenario. I think they beat Houston. Houston, again, yeah, like you said, they're rebuilding right now. They're making some moves. They signed their quarterback, right? They also signed that, what's his name, that edge rusher. Oh, my God.
Will Anderson Jr. Yep.
Yeah, there you go, from Alabama, right? So they're starting to make moves in that scenario, but I still think that the chemistry is going to need a little bit more time to develop. Them also losing Brandon Cooks as well. Going to Dallas is a big one too, right? I think it's a bigger loss than people realize, considering the amount of passing yards that he got, right? So, no, I think Atlanta walks away with a W in this one.
Oh, absolutely. I'm with you on that. So that makes you guys 3-2.
Yeah.
Then L, October 15th.
I don't know, Washington. Man. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna be realistic with you.
Name again? What is it? I just want to make sure. Who's your owner? Who's your owner? What's your team name?
Washington will beat you. You don't need to know the team name, all right?
I'm Chase Young? I'm not sure.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest. Last year, we beat you guys in a close one, and we beat Chicago in a close one. I think we take L's to both of you guys. I think it's going to be close. And I think it's going to be flipped. Number one for me, if Heineke gets in the game, you're definitely going to win. Because Heineke is going to want to show out his old team. But I think that we talk about these young teams early in the year. We're going to have I believe Denver early in the year. I think we got Philly early in the year. So we've got some tough matchups. And I think this is going to be one that it's in the Georgia Dome. I think you guys take the win.
Okay. So we're at 4-2 right now.
Yep.
Okay. So Tampa Bay, this in particular Tampa Bay game, I think we win. I do think it's a W, and I think this will be 5-2 at this point.
Okay.
Tampa Bay, they lost some key players. They lost Fournette. They lost Tom Brady. And whether people want to admit it or not, the Tom Brady full hangover is starting right now. It's gonna start right now.
Exactly.
Not taking away from their explosive offensive line. Still having Mike Evans, still having oh my God. What's Chris Godwin?
Godwin, yeah.
And then potentially Julio Jones, who we can say what he is at this point, right? But regardless, is it going to be Kyle Trask or is it going to be Baker Mayfield? It seems like they like Baker Mayfield, but Baker Mayfield has been known to still have year after year growing pains.
Yeah. Didn't y'all play Baker last year and whoop him when he was at Carolina?
Because Baker played for Carolina?
Yeah.
Did we? Well, was that the game we won for a kick, or was it the game we lost? I can't remember now. No, I don't think he was in the game. So I think it was PJ Walker for both games.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah,
old PJ.
Yep. What do you think?
I gotta win with you.
Win?
I agree. Okay. I definitely think I'm not. Even though we are surrounded by Tampa Bay fans, I'm not sold on them at all.
No, me neither, man. No. If anything, if it's not our division, I could easily see Carolina or New Orleans taking that top spot. It wouldn't shock me. Now, Tennessee. Tennessee's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'd honestly flip a coin in this scenario just because Arthur Smith does know how they work. And maybe Tennessee uses that to their advantage as well, knowing that Arthur Smith is a coach and he has a certain coaching style. Ryan Tannehill is very unpredictable, whether he has good games and bad games. Derrick Henry could be the key difference maker here. I'm going to give the Falcons an L here.
You give them an L?
And I think it's close. I think it's close.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with that same narrative, and I'm going to give them the W. I think it is close. Yeah, I think it's close, but I think that you can't rely on Tannehill, like you said, like we're talking about, he's iffy, and I think he's not going to do well in this one. And Derek is coming towards the end of his career. And I got to give you guys the win.
Okay. So you're saying 6-2. I'm saying 5-3 then as of right now. Just so I'm keeping track of this. Okay. All right. So Minnesota, I'm going to just go straight with it. I think it's an L.
You think it's an L with Minnesota?
Yes. I do think it's an L. I think it's an L. I think, the fact of what they have in Minnesota with Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, a defensive line who they're still working on right now. Whether if Kirk Cousins is going to be the guy, is he even still there right now? I don't even know what's going on with Kirk Cousins in Minnesota.
Right.
But no, I don't think we're going to beat Minnesota. I actually think Minnesota's going to have a really good year this year.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I got an L here too. Although I did hear right before getting on here, I did read an article that said that Dalvin Cook could potentially be moved. I don't know how legitimate that article was, but right now with Dalvin on the team, they got Jordan Addison from USC in the draft. Yeah, with Kirk Cousins throwing, I think this is around the time that Kirk does good. So yeah, I'm giving them the win. I'm giving Minnesota the win.
Absolutely. Now, a difference of a little bit of a change of pace here is for Arizona. I think this is a W for Atlanta. I think Arizona, unfortunately, and Chris Werschuk wouldn't shy away from this, is posed right now to finish bottom of the division right now.
Yeah.
Them letting D-Hop walk was a very stupid move. They should have tried to do something there. I'm sure there's more behind the story, and I'm sure Chris has already touched this many, many times for many different reasons of why D-Hop walked.
Yeah.
I just think, to put it nicely, they're just rebuilding right now, and I don't think Arizona walks away with a W. I think it's a win for Atlanta. So going into the bye week, I see us being 6-4.
Yeah, I got a win with you guys as well. So what is that? 7-3 for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I got 7-3, and then to get a bye week at week 11, like almost dead spot in the middle. How do you feel about that? I mean, I love that.
Yeah, I like it. It's not a bad spot.
Yeah.
So I think right now, that's pretty good. It could be worse. It could be, later on in the season. That's the last thing I would want. No, that's about the time I'd want it. I agree. Hopefully we have no injuries at this point. So I think up to this point too, I will say, I think we mostly see Desmond Ridder. I don't think I think he's doing good at that point. I do think Taylor Heineke probably maybe played 1 or 2 games potentially, but I think it's mostly Desmond Ridder at this point.
Yeah, if Taylor Heineke has any say or can have any kind of pull towards in that Washington, he's going to try to get into that Washington game.
Oh yeah, I see him playing in Washington like that game. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that'd be smart too. That'd be a little bit intimidating, especially playing Washington.
Exactly.
Seeing your ghosts, right? Like I would.
Right. And see, our fans are still very much into him, so it's not like 6-4. Okay. Yeah, our fans are very much into him, so it's not like there's any hatred or animosity towards it. There's some of our fans that wish he was still in Washington. So it's going to be a mixed bag, mixed review when he comes back, but I know we're going to like him. All right.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get going now. So New Orleans, after the bye, this is where we're going to start to see a little bit more L's here. So New Orleans, I think, is going to be a loss, especially in this game. I think New Orleans, by this point, is probably having a decent season so far.
Yep.
Not going through their schedule. I'd have to go and pick it apart, which we can do on LTF one day, and we should do soon.
Yes.
But I think that New Orleans is very much on the rise. They've had some rough couple years with some changes and stuff. But at the same time, maybe I'm playing devil's advocate with myself. I could see also them losing. Their running back. Not Taysom.
Kamara. Yeah.
Kamara didn't he go and he's missing like a whole bunch of games or something like that too?
Well, it's supposed to be. I don't know if it's official that he's going to, but I know he's under investigation.
Yeah. So Kamara, I think this is also his last year. I think this is actually Alvin Kamara's last year, and I think it's also Michael Thomas's last year.
Yep.
I think we're losing both of them. So I do think that New Orleans is going to have a really good year this year. Them having Chris Olave, very, very explosive. Jameson Williams, correct? Right?
Yeah.
Is who they signed.
Yeah. No. Williams is for Detroit. Who did they sign?
Gotta look it up now. I can't remember.
Yeah, right up.
The Saints. It's the last thing that I want to pay attention to.
I know.
Sorry, whoever's watching. Love you. Where
Thomas?
Okay, transactions. Let's see. So we got.
I'm not seeing anybody new.
I know it is. I know for a fact. Where is he?
Shaheed, Nicole likes to tell us about that guy.
He's not bad. He's from
Thomas
Detroit.
Love.
Yeah, Jamal Williams. My bad.
Oh,
Jamal Williams.
yes. Oh man, how did I forget about that guy?
Jamal Williams. There we go. So he did great. So I think he'll be a good substitute for sure, right? As long as he stays healthy. So
yeah, I still got you guys. I got them winning this one.
Yep.
But later on, I think I split it because you guys played in the last week.
Me too. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. That's where I'm at with it. So then I think we're going to go into New York, and I think this is also going to be a loss. I think New York's going to have a hell of a year. Mm-hmm. Even Aaron Rodgers at half capacity is going to improve any of the quarterbacks that they've had for the last few years. So, Joe Flacco being out of it, Zach Wilson, Zach White.
Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, Mike White.
That's it. Zach Wilson, Mike White. Aaron Rodgers, no matter which way you look at it, is going to be an improvement. Regardless, Tom Brady having more rings, I do think that Aaron Rodgers hasn't always been a better quarterback.
For sure. Talent. Yep, absolutely.
So, as long as he stays healthy, the New York Jets have all the makings right now to make a Super Bowl run, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think this is a game. Honestly, I think this is a game that they're going to need, especially in that AFC East. And I think at least 3 teams there, I think, is making the playoffs this year. So I think they get the W. It's in New York in December. Yeah, I think they get a W in this one, man.
Yep, I think so too. So going forward, Tampa Bay. I think this is where we sweep. This is the year we sweep Tampa Bay. Ooh, I think we're over 500 at this point. I'm not gonna go on and backtrack or anything. It's the same reasons. I don't think Tampa Bay has that identity yet. I think we're gonna win against Tampa Bay straight through the season. So that'll put us then at 7-6.
Yeah, I got you with Tampa Bay. So am I 8-5 now?
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So now for Carolina, I think this is where Bryce Young starts to ball out.
Yeah,
and I think that Carolina absolutely, and I'm not even going to try and sugarcoat. I think they wreck us this game. It's just a destroyal. So I think we go back to 500 right here, and we are going then at what is that? 7-7.
Yep. 7-7. I got them. I got them getting the dub, so I got you at 8-6.
Yep, 7-7. So now going to Indy. Indy, I think this is a win. I think Indy is stepping in the right direction. They have their quarterback now with Anthony Richardson, who hopefully is going to work out for them. And I think, with just where the Falcons are and the fact that it'll be desperation point at this point to try and see if we're going to win the division. I think Falcons pull ahead and they go 8-7.
Ooh, okay. I want to give Anthony Richardson some love. I want to give that. I don't want to give the team some love because Irsay has been their owner has been the main reason why Washington can't get our owners in there because he ain't with it. But I want Richardson to do well. I love Jonathan Taylor, but I got you guys. I got Falcons winning this one, man. I don't think they're ready yet.
Yep, I definitely agree. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a spoiler here. I have us winning the last 2 games. That's our ceiling, I think, is 10-7 right now. Okay. I think we've done good with Chicago. I don't think it's going to be a easy game, though, with Chicago. I'll be completely honest with you. I think it's going to be a nail-biter. We were able to pull it off with Chicago last year. Chicago, it's a different team this year. They've made some moves for sure, right? They've definitely helped out Justin Fields. I think we can pull away, we can clinch this out, and we'll go 9-7.
I can see it. 10-7.
Yep. Now New Orleans. The reason why I think we go 10-7 is I think that depending on where New Orleans is at this moment, whether they are competing for a spot or if they're out of the picture, I think this will determine what this game is going to be.
Yeah.
If New Orleans has that big lead and they're ahead, they might not want to win this game. They might want to rest some players. And this might be a lucky Falcons win where we can clinch in and get a wild card spot right here. So I do think that I'm going to err on the side that we're going to end up splitting New Orleans, and I think we go 10-7. That's our ceiling.
Yeah, I got you at 10-7 too. I have you losing to Chicago. I'm very high on them, and I think Justin Fields has a breakout year. But I
Yeah.
think that New Orleans game, that's going to be a game that I think is going to – you guys will need to win it to stay alive or get in the tournament and get help. So I think that you guys get that dub. I think 10-7 as well and wild card playoffs. I'm 100% agree with.
Yeah, I think so. It's obviously dependent on how the rest of the division is going to do, right? And not even just our division, just the rest of the NFC in total. You know, it's really tough to, especially with, going to your division, right? The East, Sean. Just seeing what's going to happen there. Is it going to be Philly's year again where they're going to ball out? Personally, I don't think so. But I still think they're going to have a really good year. I don't know if they'll make it back to the Super Bowl. It doesn't happen that often, but there's going to be some teams that are going to be, staying in track with that wild card spot. Is Dallas going to win their division, right? Who else do we have there? Who else is in the East right now? Yeah, the Giants. The Giants had a hell of a year last year, and they're looking even better this year. How are they going to do, right? So, it's really tough to see. And then, the Detroit Lions, like what's going to come out of that division? Are we going to have the Vikings? Are they going to do well? Is Chicago going to win that division, right? It's it's going to be a guessing game. I think that the NFC as a whole is going to be a lot more interesting than it was last year.
Yep, absolutely. I still don't think it holds a candle to the AFC and all those powerful quarterbacks and everything like that. But they're going to be better. They're going to be a lot better. And shout out to my guy, Kyle Yacey, because Kyle, you were the one who said, Philly, they're on this run, but it's going to end.
It never called it. It always happens, Sean. It always happens. Like, even like if we go and compare what happened with hockey this year and the Boston Bruins having an absolutely insane regular season breaking records. Yep. What happened? They got knocked out right away, right? Yeah. And it just happens. These teams, they overestimate these other teams that, have these glimpses of like doing unbelievable, right? And it's the same thing in football, right? Football itself, like we had like Jalen Hurts with a very stacked team go against a veteran coach and a quarterback that now is showing glimpses of surpassing potentially Tom Brady right now, right? Like like right now, Patty Mahomes is the guy. He's mobile, he's accurate, and the guy is just all around talented right now. He's unbelievable in the pocket. He's all you want in a quarterback right now. So it's you gotta have pride by all means, right? But you can't overestimate your opponent, and that's exactly what happened with Philly.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, and for anybody that thinks, oh, well, Philly, they got better, they got all this talent, I want you to look 2 years ago to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They returned all 22 starters. They couldn't make it back. Go back to the following year with Aaron Donald and Matt Stafford and how stacked that team was. Yeah. What happened to them last year? Albeit they had injuries and this and that, but it's super hard to be dominant 1 year and then to get it done. But then to repeat the next year with the same dominance and continue it, there's only been a few that's been able to do it. And I agree with you, man. I think they're going to have some growing pains this coming year.
100%. I think especially this year, I have to go through the schedule before I make any kind of Super Bowl predictions because I'm definitely not there yet at this point. Yeah. But I think we're going to see teams emerge that we haven't seen before. I think that the Jets are going to make a run. I think that, maybe this is the Bills' year. This is going to be maybe their do or die year, right? In the AFC. I think Dallas has gotten better, and maybe this will be the year to prove if Dak is the guy or if they're going to move on from Dak and just kind of see what they can do, right? I think Philly will do well. I don't think they're going to make it there, though. It's really tough. The Vikings look really good, too. Is Casey going to go for another run? It's possible. Or is it going to be the Bengals' year?
Right.
I don't know, right? And then Pittsburgh also. They're going and they're building in the right direction too, and Sid's really high on them, so I can't say anything.
Yeah. If you ask Sid, they're gonna almost go undefeated. So,
is that what he's saying this year?
Okay. He said 13-4. I was like, oh, Sid, I can find at least 7 or 8 losses, man. And he was like, oh, tell me 2. Who? I was like, all right, Sid.
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I know how the to know how the Pittsburgh Steelers work, because I really don't. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know that, Tomlin is a great coach, right?
Yeah.
And, having great coaching goes a long ways, right? But we'll see. It's not Ben Roethlisberger, right? It's now going to be Kenny Pickett. So is he going to be the guy? And the thing is regardless of him being a first overall quarterback, at this present moment, and I'm not saying it's going to stay like this, right? Like, until for years to come, I don't see at this moment any like too big of a difference between Desmond Ridder and Kenny Pickett right now at this moment, right?
Yep.
There hasn't been enough writing on paper to say, oh, one is better than the other. They both got to play a full season. We both have to see how they gel with the weapons that they have. But Pittsburgh's they've got weapons, but they're also in a very tough division. With Baltimore now signing OBJ and, trying to build those weapons around the Ravens, right? And, the Cleveland Browns that, we'll see if now that Deshaun Watson, if he's gotten over that, I call it that hangover from, all the media and everything like that, right?
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of other teams, a lot of other schedules to break down.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure we'll see that over time.